live right now as we are watching UFC Louisville, right? And we are watching Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Marquez, taking on right now Reese, right? So, speaking of Cuban and the Cuban Missile Crisis, if you're down here in LA, by the way, I know you're probably going to see this in the video that I'm going to upload, but take a look at the background right there, right? Check that out. Oh, Julian Marquez just got knocked out as we are reacting to this live. So much for Cuban Missile Crisis, but I tell you what, let me tell you what's Cuban and it's not a crisis is this Porto right here. So if you're in LA, you need to go tap in with these people right here, the best Cuban. So if you're in LA, you need to go tap the best, hold on a second. LA. We need to go tap the best, hold on a second. Okay, the little, sorry about that. Had, myself playing in another background. But anyways, yeah, check out Porto's, the best Cuban spot in Los Angeles, right? Once again, another view of, LA right behind you, right? So anyways, we're obviously checking out UFC Louisville right now. I'm not doing a whole live stream, just to let you know. I'm probably going to get off this in like 20 minutes and whatnot. So just wanted to get in here and basically cover the fights while I'm not really going to cover all the fights, but just rather talk random MMA news and whatnot, right? So as we know, a lot of people are wondering if Conor McGregor is really going to fight this time, right? And I can understand why there's a lot of speculations going on now. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but not only that, previous live streams. And I got to say this. The reason why the press conference is not happening, a lot of people don't know there's a lot of migrant issues that are going on in Ireland, right? And you've probably seen Conor McGregor talk about this in a video that I made, Tommy Robinson and Conor McGregor. Check that out on the video section that I have right here. Once again, also check out the video that I'm going to have after UFC Louisville. It's being uploaded right now. It's going to premiere 8 p.m. Western California time. So that means if you are on the East Coast, that's at 5. If you are in the Midwest, somewhere around 6. Don't forget to check out that video. Dana White and his overall support for Joe Rogan, and also the response to the Flagrant Foul podcast that he did. So I talk about Dana White's unyielding loyalty towards Joe Rogan. Maybe something that's missing nowadays. Maybe it's something that you experience in your life. Maybe it's something that you don't experience in your life. But nonetheless, it kind of gives an insight to Dana White's integrity. And I know that's probably laughable to a lot of people that are thinking, well, how does a guy that has all this money literally spend $6 million on a gambling spree, and yet he has fighters that are complaining about fighter pay? Well, I tell you what, there's a lot of nuances to that particular conversation at hand, but it doesn't mean that they're not good people outside of their daily lives and what they do, especially with Dana White as a good friend to Joe Rogan. So I urge you guys to check out that video. It's going to premiere 2 hours from now, exactly 2 hours from now, as we are on top of the hour. It is 6 p.m. here in the West Coast, Los Angeles, California, the beautiful Hollywood, Los Angeles, California, to be exact. So check your local time listings for wherever you are in the world. So right now, Reese just got that knockout against Marquez right now, while I was literally promoting a Cuban restaurant, right? So Cuban Missile Crisis and the best Cuban restaurant in LA. So either way, what else is going on in the world of combat sports right now? So obviously, a lot of people are upset that Dana White mentioned how John Jones is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world, right? Well, is this true? Some people say that it's not, and they want to give it to Islam as the pound-for-pound #1 because he's more active. Whereas with John Jones, he was out for a couple of years, comes back, spends literally 1 minute in the cage against Cyril Gane, only to be gone again for a certain number of months, while also refusing a fight with Tom Aspinall. I tell you what, this is how I sort of see this situation, right? To kind of put this situation to bed. Right now, this situation isn't looking too good for Jon Jones, right? Let's be honest. It's not looking too good for Jon Jones. He's looking like a duck. But in my honest opinion and my insights to what I could predict in the future, I think eventually he will fight Tom Aspinall. I just think that he wants to get through Stipe Miocic first. Also, you got to put this in perspective, right? There was a point, well, not a point, it still is a point to a lot of people's subjective opinion that Floyd Mayweather is a duck. And primarily because of the fact that he ducked a lot of guys that were in their prime that he should have fought at a certain time, but then he sort of waited, which, by the way, was a strategic move in and of itself. But eventually, he went on to fight Manny Pacquiao, a fight that you all really wanted him to see from a very long time ago, right? And then eventually from 2008, 2009, and in 2012 when it was supposed to happen, it never happened because Floyd got arrested, Manny Pacquiao got knocked out, but eventually they fought in 2015. And yet you still call him a duck. And maybe there's some good reasons for that, and maybe there isn't. But understand this, right? Jon Jones is eventually going to fight Tom Aspinall. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm giving you just my own subjective speculation. There is no objectivity in this. There is no specific quote that I can point out with Jon Jones that says, well, he's eventually going... Actually, you know what? There is. He did say one time that he said, eventually, I'm going to see all of these men. But I think right now his main focus is trying to put a person in his resume, specifically somebody like Stipe who has a resume in and of himself. Now, I don't know if John's been living under a rock, but a lot of people are really impressed by the run that Tom Aspinall had going on. So, eventually, he's going to notice him if he doesn't already, and there's going to be a high demand for it. And if he refuses that call to that particular fade that he needs to run with Tom Aspinall, well, eventually he's going to look like a coward, or a lot of you are going to forget about it because his whole entire legacy remains intact. You have to understand this, right? And I should probably make a separate video on this because this is a very good topic at hand. Eventually, Jon Jones is going to fight Tom Aspinall. But if he does, and when he does, and if he possibly does, it could absolutely ruin his whole entire career trajectory based on the fact that he had a very volatile PR campaign outside of the cage. So what exactly do I mean by that? So here's the thing, right? If you suffer a loss, and let's say you have a good PR standings outside of the cage or outside of the ring, there's a certain population of fans that can forgive you for this. Now, I want you to imagine a world if Jon Jones was to lose tomorrow. What exactly does that look like? I'll tell you exactly what that looks like. Go back to 2015 when Ronda Rousey lost. Now, obviously, the way that she took that loss, it was horrible, right? Because it was like as if she expected to have never lost, and it became a shock to her system when she actually did. And eventually blamed the media, blamed everybody but her camp and herself. But nonetheless, it was a huge pile-on because she had this cocky and arrogant attitude. She wasn't very friendly with the media. There were a lot of stories that said that she was sort of not very nice to the UFC staff to any degree, right? So that's something you got to take into high consideration. So with an eventual downfall like that in the cage, it makes it very easy for a lot of people to pile on. Now, with Jon Jones, I don't got to sit here and talk to you about his rap sheet. We know about his accolades in the cage, but guess what? We also know a lot about his accolades in the streets and his rap sheet on top of it. So what exactly does that mean? That means that you add all those things Oh, and 13th Assassin from Abu Dhabi says, Assalamu alaikum, bro. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. 13th Assassin, thanks for tapping in with me on this live stream. Let me show you something that I know you guys have a real nice city out in Abu Dhabi in the Emirates. Check this out. This is Hollywood, California right here. You know what I mean? So probably not as nice as Abu Dhabi, but here's a little view right here. And 13th Assassin says you're welcome. So, so when John Jones loses, it's going to be a huge pile-on. Okay, it's going to be a huge pile-on just because of the fact that he was a media nightmare. And not only that, I think they can really spin that particular win that Tom Aspinall could potentially have over John Jones. Now, here's the problem, though, because we bag on John Jones a lot. We bag on him not taking the fight. We bag on his rap sheet outside of the cage, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, but here's the problem, right? We also got to place some blame on Tom Aspinall. Because, let's be honest, the brother is not doing his part. Now, as a hardcore fan, to be honest with you, we don't really care a lot about bravado. We don't really care about who trash talks the best, who is the greatest on the mic. This isn't rap music. This isn't battle rapping. So we don't really care who looks good on the mic or not, right? It's not a comedy show. It's not a roast off. It's not one of those, comedian battles or rap battles or anything like that. So it really doesn't matter how somebody looks on the mic, right? And that's only for us hardcore fans. But here's something you got to understand. If you are a casual fan, this is what you want. You want all the drama. You want all the trash talking. So why not call on Tom Aspinall to be the British villain bad guy that he needs to be? And I gotta be honest with you, man, British guys, they make great bad guys, okay? They make good guys as well. Obviously, James Bond, one of the biggest heroes of all time in films, but at the same time, they can also really captivate the audience as the greatest villain ever. I mean, let's just be honest, that's just what it is. So this is what Tom Aspinall needs to do. He really needs to get in there and become that villain. Become that person that, quite frankly, is going to be a problem for a lot of people in terms of how he trash talks, in terms of how he gets up in his opponent's faces. Now, look, you guys know that little exchange that John Jones and Tom Aspinall had in Manchester, right? I believe it was Manchester. I believe it was somewhere where John Jones was visiting what I believe to be was, I'm not sure if it was a bodybuilding show or if it was a powerlifting contest or anything like that. But they got into a confrontation and John Jones said to Tom Aspinall, hey, man, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Man, I tell you what, Tom Aspinall handled himself like a gentleman. But really, in all honesty, that's not what you want. You don't want a gentleman at a John Jones or Tom Aspinall because you want drama. You want excitement. And as a part of that excitement, you have to somehow provoke Tom Aspinall into that specific situation of being that British bad guy that he needs to be. Hey, I'll tell you what. You want to talk about USA versus UK type of battles? I'll tell you something, right? When Ricky Hatton fought Floyd Mayweather, it was a great show. Why? Because you had an antagonist, but then you had a good guy. And then for some people, Ricky Hatton was the bad guy. For some people, Floyd was the good guy. And for some people, Floyd was the bad guy. And Ricky Hatton was the good guy. So there was a lot of variations that sort of fell into that whole storyline. So, unfortunately, Tom Aspinall doesn't have any of that. He doesn't have a captivating personality. And let me tell you why he doesn't have a captivating personality. In all honesty, the guy grew up with a great dad. And his dad raised him to be a good man. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, the problem is that's not entertaining for any of you. Think about this, right? What are some of the most entertaining rappers that you've ever dealt with in your whole entire life? I'll tell you one. Since we're out in LA right now, obviously Tupac was one of the most captivating personalities in rap music. You want to know why? I'll give you an example, and I'll give you a reason why and how this relates to Tom Aspinall. For one, here's something you got to understand about Pac. Tupac did not grow up with a father. And no matter how you put it, this is one of the reasons why he's entertaining. Because for a person to have a father figure in their life, they're going to make the right choices. And because they make the right choices, guess what? This is the God honest truth. That's boring for the majority of people in the world. I mean, for me, that's not boring for me. I like that. I like guys like that. Most reasonable people are going to like guys like that and are going to support whatever it is that they do. However, you're sort of in this situation where you want an entertaining fight, you want an entertaining contest with two men that sort of draw a certain type of stylistic matchup that is bad for each other, which creates a compelling fight, but you also want a fight with a compelling story. Okay, so 13th Warrior here comments, he writes, beautiful, mashallah, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm from Dubai, brother, not Abu Dhabi. Okay, so we'll make that distinction. Jones makes it seem like he's afraid of Tom. Yes, it's either that or either the fact that he is trying to play the art of war in some kind of way. And then 13th Assassin also writes here, he says, I wonder why he was yelling to fight Alex Pereira, but not Tom. It's obvious Alex got no wrestling and ground game. Tom is more complete. Also, brother, I am from Dubai, not Abu Dhabi. Okay, so thank you for that distinct description, 13th Assassin, because you're right. Dubai is a city. Abu Dhabi is a state, from what I understand. Sort of like you have San Francisco, you have LA, but then you have the whole state of California. So it's sort of in that same trajectory. So right now we are about to see Dustin Soltoff take on, in this fight card right now, who is up right now, Dustin Soltoff. I'm sorry, guys, I haven't been keeping up with this particular card. Obviously, this is not going to be a full companion. I just wanted to hop on here and get a couple of views just so I can, get this channel going and react to Bruno Ferreira. Okay, so that's the fight that is happening right now. Bruno Ferreira against Dustin Soltoff, as we are talking about Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. So here's something you got to understand. I got 2 more minutes and I'm going to get out of here, okay? So you have to understand, before I go and while we're watching this UFC Louisville, right? Jon Jones is either playing the art of war, either he's not interested because Tom Aspinall is not making himself more eligible to be a formidable opponent. Now, you're probably wondering, how can you be an eligible opponent if you're already the interim champion? Well, here's something that you have to understand. Why is Jon Jones choosing Stipe Miocic as we are witnessing round 1 of Ferreira and Soltoff right now? I'm going to tell you why. Stipe is not exactly the most exciting fighter in the world either when it comes to his personality, but he has the accolades. Tom Aspinall is only starting out his accolades. So what do you have to do if you don't have that much accolades because you've never even been the undisputed champion, while also trying to garner a certain level of attention early on? Well, how do you do that? Well, you grow a personality, you build a story, you build compelling and dramatic full conflicts in order for people to get interested in your fights. And he's not doing that. So it's a combination of Jon Jones being scared, but it's also a combination of Tom Aspinall not being compelling enough. So that's literally all that I have for this 20 minutes. I promised you guys that I wasn't going to be here too long for this Fight Night live stream. I just wanted to come in here and talk about a few MMA subjects, but also check out my video that is going to premiere 2 hours from now. Right now, it is 6:16 in the west coast of California at 8 p.m. At this particular time frame of California, my video of Dana White defending Joe Rogan in the Flagrant Foul podcast will be on and premiering 8 p.m. West Coast time. Don't forget to tap in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next content to come, inshallah.